Hi, this is Dale Rhoda, and the purpose of this short video is to describe for you a new Stata command that we've written and that we'll be sharing. It's very useful for data cleaning. The command is named Assertlist. Assertlist is intended to accomplish the tasks that are highlighted here. It lets you flag rows in the dataset that have questionable responses and set them aside for review. If you identify a value that should be corrected and put it into the spreadsheet that Assertlist makes, then you can save that and the spreadsheet will automatically create Stata syntax, which you can turn around and use to amend your datasets to include the correction. So Assertlist fits nicely in the workflow that we've been describing in this video series. The syntax of the command, the simple syntax is you type Assertlist and then you name some sort of assertion here, a Boolean assertion, something that resolves to either being true or false. So you might assert list that sex is equal to M, male, or sex is equal to female. And for every observation in the data set, that's going to be true or false. And Assertlist makes a list of the observations where this assertion is false, so where sex takes on some other value other than M or F, and it lists them to the screen or it exports them to Excel depending on what you've asked for. Or if you have a variable that can only take the values 1, 2, and 99, you might say Assertlist response equals double equals 1, or response double equals 2, or response double equals 99, and Assertlist will make a list of the observations where that assertion is not true, and it will set them aside for you. These are the options for Assertlist. If you just want the output to go to the screen, then you tell it which variables from your data set you want to see when the Assertlist is not true. So these would be ID variables. It might be the line number or something like that. If you want to add a little tag, a little description of your tests, you can add that using the tag option. More often we send the output to Excel, so you specify an Excel file name and a sheet name, and that tells you where to put the list of observations that violate your assertion. And sometimes we just list them in Excel, but if you want to have the option to correct the values, then we specify the fix option, and we tell Assertlist which variables are ID variables and which variables are you checking. So let's have a look here. Let's see, the Excel option lets you list the problems. This is just saying what I just said. For every variable in the checklist, the command will put out 3 columns in the spreadsheet. It will show you what the original value was that did not meet your expectations. It'll give you a space to type a corrected value, and if you type that corrected value, then it will populate with Stata syntax. So here's an example looking at the dataset we looked at in the earlier videos, the tenboys dataset that has problems. And here's how we would check our expectations about this dataset. First, we're checking for each of these variables because we expect them to not be missing. And if they are missing, we want to send the list out to the spreadsheet called ten.xlsx, to this sheet. We want it to provide an opportunity for us to fix the stratum variable if it's missing. So these lines are all alike, and then the last line is a little bit different. Here we're testing our expectation that the vaccinated variable should either be yes or no, and we're using the Stata inlist command to do that. And if it's not either yes or no, then we want to send the value of it to this sheet, and we want to have the opportunity to fix that variable. One thing Assertlist cannot do is it can't check for duplicates, so we do that using the same syntax that we used in the earlier examples. If we ran that code, then Assertlist would make a spreadsheet with 2 tabs. The first tab is just called Assertlist Summary, where it tells us what are the checks that it ran. So it lists all 9 checks, it lists the syntax of the assertion, it tells us how many observations there were in the dataset, and how many observations failed the assertion, so how many had exceptions. And then if they had exceptions, then those are written to the other sheet, the sheet that we named DataChecks. And here it's saying, this failed at test number 2. and the cluster was missing. And here's a place where you could type the corrected cluster name, and if you do that, then you'll get status syntax here. So in the next slide we see we've typed these corrected values. For row 6, the name shouldn't be missing. In fact, it should be Ethan. And when we type that in there, then the spreadsheet populates this with status syntax that we can use later. Here are some notes. You can review these at your leisure, and I think this will become more meaningful to you soon, because I'm going to give you first of all the Assertlist program that you can run if you're a Stata user, and second, I will circulate a realistic solution to week 1's homework using Assertlist commands. So I'll show you many dozens of Assertlist commands that I would use if I were doing the homework that I assigned to you on week 1. So this is just a quick introduction. You can use it at your leisure. We can correspond about it. Let us know if you have any questions. The best way, if you have questions, is to post them in Survey Scholar in the community update where you found the link to this video. And that way everyone will be able to participate in the dialogue. We'll see your question and my response to it. If for some reason that's not working for you, or if you see this video after the Survey Scholar course, then of course you can send email with your questions. Thanks very much.